What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to talk about some landing spots for Carson Wentz as he has grown tired of the Philadelphia Eagles organization and they may be looking to move on from him, as Jalen Hurts showed that he can handle the job. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick. Well, 2021 has gotten off to a bit of a rocky start for some Philadelphia fans as the former future of their organization has now requested a trade. And it seems as though that it might be a mutual feeling. It looks like Jalen Hurts proved enough for the Eagles to have some confidence in him moving forward. And with Carson Wentz on such a massive contract and his injury history, one has to believe that the Eagles are going to be looking to try to regain as much compensation for him as humanly possible.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, Carson Wentz, he's still a very young quarterback with a lot of potential. Just because it hasn't worked out in Philadelphia for him doesn't mean that he can't make it work with another team. It seemed like everything for him started to go downhill after Frank Reich left. So I think that if we see him on another team, he could be able to put it back together and be like his 2017 self back into MVP form.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have a couple of destinations that make a whole hell of a lot of sense for him. So why don't you get us started with the first one?
Yeah, so I have the New England Patriots, and the New England Patriots, they're at rock bottom right now after having Cam Newton perform what was probably one of the worst performances by any Patriot quarterback ever. I mean, it was pretty much a running back playing the spot. And Carson Wentz, we saw a few years ago everything that he was all about, how he's able to put it together when he has a competent head coach and a competent offensive coordinator. Well, New England has that. They have a solid offensive line where he's not going to get sacked 60 times this season. They have plenty of cap space to go get him weapons. They have a great running attack that is we started to see last season, glimpses of it. So, I mean, and you have this defense that is coached up by Bill Belichick. They're going to be solid just like Philadelphia's. So this is a great spot for Carson Wentz. He would be able to work with great coaches and figure out a way to get back to the way he used to perform. There really aren't too many great spots for him, but I would have to say New England is looking like one of the best options out there for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the Patriots here. The Patriots are always in on some of these players that, fall out of favor. The question is, what will Carson Wentz go for in a trade? And, I think there's two sides to this story, and they're very far apart. The side that would acquire him is looking at his injury history. They're looking at a team that overpaid this player and honestly hasn't proved much outside of one season. And then if we take a look on the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be looking at what Matthew Stafford just went for and say he has an injury history and he's on a contract that isn't very favorable, and look at what the Detroit Lions were able to get for him. So I think that this is going to be one of those things where we just end up waiting and seeing. But listen, if the Patriots are in it, that shows me that there's going to be other teams that are right there with them. And I'm going to start off with the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears need to make a decision as far as the quarterback is concerned. Mitch Trubisky, listen, I think he's a really good game manager. I just don't think he's right for Chicago. I think they have to move on from him. With that being said, you're reuniting Carson Wentz and Nick Foles back together. And that was when both of these players were at their absolute best. On top of the fact that Matt Nagy is one of the best offensive minds we have in the league, a former Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, former quarterback himself. He has definitely done his homework, and it would have the requisite ability to be able to work with Carson Wentz and get him back to the way that we saw him in 2017 when he was on pace to win MVP. So I think Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears definitely need to be looked at. The only question here is how would they make the cap space work? They would definitely have to include either Hakeem Hicks or Khalil Mack or somebody big on their cap space. They would have to add them into this trade to make the numbers work out for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm never worried about caps because in the NFL, you can restructure any deal to push money towards other seasons. So that should be never be an issue for these teams. Chicago is definitely an interesting spot. The only downside is you're going from one bad offensive line to an even worse offensive line. And you're going from okay weapons to terrible weapons because Allen Robinson does not want to return to this team. So Carson Wentz may be forced into this deal, but this is the absolute worst spot for him to land. I think there are plenty of other teams, and one in particular that not only has a solid offensive line, but has superstars in the wing. The San Francisco 49ers are a great option for Carson Wentz. They have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, on top of all those running backs that were pure domination last season when healthy. Carson Wentz would fit with this team. He would fit with the system, and you're taught by Kyle Shanahan, one of the best quarterback gurus in the NFL. He has taught Matt Ryan and Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins how to be great quarterbacks, and he can do that with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has proven that he has the abilities. He just needs to be more consistent, and that's what Kyle Shanahan can do. He'll be able to bring that out of him. So I think the San Francisco 49ers are one of the best options out there for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I like what Kyle Shanahan has been able to bring to the 49ers. I believe that they're ahead of schedule as far as it comes to where this team should have been, making a Super Bowl early on, and now we're seeing that the 49ers were all in on Kirk Cousins. Well, they're not going to be able to get Kirk Cousins. Minnesota has already said that it doesn't seem likely that he'll be traded. So now we're going to look at Carson Wentz and say, is he an upgrade from Jimmy Garoppolo? I think that he provides a little more risk, but they have about the same injury history, and he can throw a better big deep ball. He is much more adept to making bigger plays where Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play it safe. He's going to continue. You know what you're going to get. You're getting it's either vanilla ice cream or you're going with the rainbow sherbet and hoping for the best. And at this point, the 49ers need to jump the gun, and I think they would do really well with Carson Wentz. But I think we can all agree that the most likely scenario and the one that makes the most sense would be the Indianapolis Colts. The head coach there, Frank Reich, one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the entire league. Top 5 defense. He's got incredible weapons all around him. If Carson Wentz went to the Indianapolis Colts, he'd be reunited with Frank Reich, who was his offensive coordinator the year that he was supposed to win the MVP prior to his injury. If you reunite these two in Indianapolis, he will be leaps and bounds better than Philip Rivers was, and Philip Rivers got them so close to the playoffs. I think Carson Wentz could get them over the hump, not only win the division, but he'd be able to help bring them toward a title. And I believe that Carson Wentz would make a lot of sense in this situation, both for him personally and for the Colts. I think that they have some of the pieces that it would take to make this trade happen. It just would take the Philadelphia Eagles to agree with that assessment.
And the Eagles, I mean, they are looking to get the best trade package, and the Colts are in a situation where they have the most to give up because their team is rock solid as it is. They don't need many pieces, and they are willing to wheel and deal what it takes to get the guy they want quarterbacking their team. You've got all the pieces. All you have to do is replace Anthony Costanzo, and you still have a top 5 offensive line to protect Carson Wentz. I believe if you give Carson Wentz 3 seconds in the pocket, he can do spectacular things. He has not been given the protection he needs in Philadelphia to truly show why he was the number 2 option in 2016. This guy has all the tools to be elite, but he just hasn't been given the opportunity in the last couple of years with the guys protecting him. And so the Indianapolis Colts truly make the most sense here, and I truly expect Frank Reich to make a strong case to their GM and their owner as to why they should go after Carson Wentz and give whatever they need to get him.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Colts here, and I just believe that Carson Wentz deserves better. He obviously deserves a chance at a starting position. Indianapolis has that as Philip Rivers is now retired. I think this makes all too much sense, which usually points to the fact that it probably won't happen. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. We go live every single day, so hit that notification bell. That'll be all for now. Peace and love.